Alright people, what is going on? If you listened last week, you guys realized that I hate doing intros. And you know what? I thought about doing a proper intro, but then I realized I just don't give a shit. And I don't think you guys do either. So, this is the LMBE podcast, where LMBE stands for literally nothing but everything. I'm Mike Rispoli. And I'm sorry guys, but I'm going to start this off with a little bit of a sad note, because I've just been doing a lot of thinking with the time being, with what's going on in my life currently. Doing 2 episodes a week has been great, but I think we both knew that this was never going to last. So it's not you, it's me. I just need a little bit more time for literally anything else. And I know, this is going to be hard. You got used to hearing me twice a week, and now it's only going to be once. But we'll get through this together, separately. But in all honesty, I do think that I bit off a little bit more than I can chew, especially with the football season ending and me just not really having that much to talk about. I do think it would be more beneficial if I go back to once a week. It's kind of like when you realize seeing your ex twice a week isn't necessarily just staying friends, it's self-sabotage. And I don't know, I feel like that's just where I'm at right now with this, where I don't want it to become sabotage. I want to give you guys the best that I can. As I say this, with this episode coming out a day late, but I don't know, I've just been really doing a lot of thinking on this, and I don't want one episode just being me just rambling about nothing, even though I know I titled this thing the Literally Nothing But Everything podcast, but I gotta give you something. It can't just be me literally spewing nonsense and garbage. I want to give you guys some substance. So I think this would be the best course of action for the pod in general, is just going back to once a week. And as of now, I think the day that I will be posting on is Fridays, unless I have anybody tell me otherwise that they like it on Tuesday more. But at least from what I'm seeing from you guys like the Friday episodes more. So I will stick to the Fridays for the time being. That is not to say that I won't go back to doing 2 a week, but right now my life is so boring, even AI is like, bro, I ain't got nothing for you. I mean, I even checked my calendar for upcoming plans, and it was like, why are you here? All right, so with that said, Super Bowl's coming up on Sunday, and who you guys got? So my heart is telling me the Eagles, but my mind is telling me the Chiefs. Well, why is that? Well, honestly, I don't know. I know a few weeks ago I said I wasn't sure about the Eagles because of the injuries and some of the extracurricular stuff that they've been dealing with. I do think after seeing them the past few weeks that they are the better overall rounded team. They have a top-rated defense and their offense looks fantastic. But at the end of the day, they are going up against the Chiefs. They are going up against the storyline of Taylor Swift and the rumors of Travis proposing to her at halftime and the 3P and all that nonsense. Because at the end of the day, the NFL is a business, and they want to make sure that they're going to keep their new viewers invested, and that's going to mean the Chiefs winning, especially if this is Travis Kelce's final year and he retires at the end of the season. I don't know, man. I think there's just a lot going on with the NFL where they want to see this 3P, even though the Chiefs, I think, are a very beatable team. I mean, even if you look back at that week 1 game against the Ravens, they were literally an inch from losing that game because the guy's toe was very slightly out of bounds. And then the game against the Broncos with the blocked field goal, that was just, I mean, masterclass in special teams. But honestly, how the fuck often do you see a blocked field goal actually happen? So they had a little break there. But then even the game against Tampa that went into overtime, I think Mahomes almost threw a pick that was almost caught. It was literally 3 inches off the ground. The guy just couldn't secure the ball. And if he makes that catch, or that interception rather, the Chiefs lose that game, because I think the Bucks were like 5 yards within field goal range. So I don't know. It really did come down to a lot of inches when it came to beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, I don't know if they have a game that's over 30 points this season. I could be wrong. maybe they have one or two, but they've won every game by a score. Like, they didn't blow any teams out. They didn't get blown out, obviously. They have a 15-2 record, except for the game against I think it was against the Broncos late in the season when they just weren't playing their starters. So, I don't know. I think the Eagles have a high probability of winning, but again, with the Chiefs, you're also playing against the fucking refs. So it's a 13th man on the field for them every down. And at the end of the game, if it is close, the Chiefs are going to get some frou-frou call that allows them with the ball in their hands at the end of the game. Even if it comes down to like what happened a few years ago when the Eagles played the Chiefs. That call on Juju, that stupid holding call, I will never not bitch about this because that play had no bearing, or that call had no bearing on the play itself. And it allowed the game to go into the ref's hands because at that point, it gave the Eagles, 40 seconds to get downfield rather than maybe a minute and 15. So if they have those extra 35 seconds, who knows what that offense could have done, especially with how great Jalen Hurts was playing that game. Probably one of the best quarterback performances of all time in a Super Bowl to lose. Reminds me of when Brady played the Eagles. Motherfucker throws for 500 passing yards, loses the game. I don't know. You also know that every holding call that's going to happen is going to go against the Eagles, even though the Chiefs literally hold on every fucking play. I think in last year's Super Bowl against the 49ers, what's his nuts? Kyle Shanahan. Every play, Bosa was getting held, and he was just like, look, that's fine, but if you're going to call it on us, call it on them too. And the refs just didn't. It's just like, fucking call a fair game for once in your life, refs. I don't give a fuck if the Kansas City Crybaby Chiefs are playing in the game. Call it fair. Like, how much more bending of the rules are the Chiefs going to be allowed to do? Steve Spagnuolo calling a timeout, even though that's clearly against the rules, but the refs turned their back on that one. Even in that Bills game, the blatant face mask that didn't get called, those 2 first downs that should have been first downs, like, you're playing against the refs. It's just unfucking believable. It really is. And it's the whole thing now of, oh, well, if Mahomes wins 4, he's already beaten Brady at this point in his career. And that's the other storyline. It took how many years between Terry Bradshaw to win 4, and then it was all of a sudden Joe Montana who won 4. And Joe Montana, I think, went 4 for 4, so he set the standard. Now all of a sudden Brady comes in, and he wins 7, so he's the brand new standard. And it didn't even take them 3 years for them to find Mahomes and just be like, oh my God, his greatness. Let me suck his dick and make sure that he gets all the championships. I don't know, man. I think the Eagles have a game cut out for them. They have to play a perfect game if they are going to win. I just hope to see them win because nothing would make me happier in life than seeing all of these Swifties just go crazy. Because for as long as they've been watching, everything has gone their way. They can't lose. So I think everybody needs a kick in the pants at some point, and this would be the time. As if Swift's album wasn't a fucking kick in the pants. Dude, her last album was trash. I couldn't even listen to a song. I got like a minute and a half in, and I'm just like, this is garbage. In a way, Taylor Swift kind of reminds me of Green Day. Because it's just like, you're singing about ex-boyfriends from however the fuck long ago. You're still pandering to a 14-year-old audience. And this isn't really a knock on Green Day, but it's just like, guys, you are 50 years old, getting up there, wearing makeup, and singing about teenage angst. Like, you haven't grown. Like, that was your peak? Was when you were 18 or 20? Like, give me a break. I think musicians kind of need to go back to thinking about the longevity of songs and how it's going to come across years later. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's why I listen to rock music, because even like Sweet Child of Mine, yeah, you can argue that that song is about a woman or whatever, but that song could be about any woman. Like, we all know that whoever Taylor Swift breaks up with, there was going to be a song about it. But you know what? Maybe that's also part of her charm of like, we all got to see her grow up essentially because she was however the fuck old when she initially got into the industry. What was she, like 17? So it's kind of like you got to see how she's progressed with every relationship, but they all failed. So it's just like, how does that make her any better than me at this point? Like, all my relationships failed. You don't see me putting out a fucking album. But I don't know, maybe this is also just because I like rock songs. So since I already brought up Sweet Child of Mine, let's compare that to some Taylor Swift songs. Because I gotta just say, for as crass as that band is, I think in the past I've said that they've got the like dirtiest rock lyric of all time. But when you look at Sweet Child of Mine, it kind of immortalizes women. Where you go, like, she's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories. Like, that's pure admiration, and they're basically saying that the woman is a goddess. Whereas I feel Taylor Swift just kind of files emotional restraining orders through song. Like, we are never ever getting back together. That to me just sounds like a hostage negotiation, not a love song. And when she goes, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Alright, then why did you date him, Sherlock? I don't know. To me, rock songs make you want to fall in love. Meanwhile, Taylor Swift songs just make you want to draft a formal apology to your future ex-girlfriend. Like, it's just ridiculous. But since we're on the topic of music, it's funny because I went out to a bar to hang out with a friend actually tonight. And while I was there, I ended up talking to this guy. And he was just like, oh yeah, like I only listen to country music. Well, Mike, what's the fucking problem? You only listen to rock music. That is not true. I've listed countless artists that I've listened to. Carrie Underwood, Shania Twain. Here's one. I actually saw Tovlo in concert many years ago. There's one out of left field for you. And you know what? I got no shame. She got some dope beats and she flashed her crowd. So needless to say, that was one of the better concerts I've been to. So don't tell me that all I listen to is rock music, because it's not true. It's just what I prefer. So, with that said, it really kind of annoys me when people only listen to one genre of music because you're not expanding your horizons to what else could be out there. I mean, music is just such an emotional and personal thing. And by not exploring different avenues of what you could be listening to, you're just not expanding different emotions that you can feel or different philosophies that you might have or even just general musicianship that there is out there. But I will say, it does drive me absolutely crazy with the people who only listen to country music because they just make it a true personality trait. Dressing up like you own a farm, but the closest thing you've been to livestock is ordering a fucking McChicken from McDonald's. Give me a break. Oh my God. And you know what? That's totally fine if you live in the South and that is your culture and that is your vibe. But I live in the North. So people up here who only listen to country music will just say to you something like, I just don't like any other type of music. Oh, cool. All right, so you've never once heard a song that didn't sound like a love letter to a pickup truck. Got it. I don't know, man. Like, there's a band out there called Down. And if you don't know who Down is, that was Phil Anselmo's band after Pantera. And you literally can't get any more country than them when it comes to a metal album because their first album was recorded in a barn. Like, come on. Also, it is funny. If you guys like more southern rock stuff, if you guys do like the heavier stuff, I haven't done this in a while. When it comes to mentioning bands that I don't think other people might know about, but I will mention them. I don't know if they're not known, but they're kind of newer to me. And it's a band called Texas Hippie Coalition. And to me, they kind of remind me of like ZZ Top and Five Finger Death Punch had a baby. Like, very blues rock oriented, kind of metal, groovy riffs. If you like that style of rock music, with the ZZ Top, or even if you guys listen to them, Asphalt Ballet, I mentioned them a while back. If you like that stuff, but you want to go a little heavier, check out Texas Hippie Coalition. I mean, they got some bangers. Blue Lights, Turn It Up, Hellhounds, I Come From the Dirt, Built for the Road, all of those are just fucking bangers. So if you are interested, I would give them a listen. But that's pretty much all I got for today. So if you guys like this episode, please share it with a friend. Rate and comment to help boost this thing up, because that's where we all know that this thing needs to be. And also, if you guys want to check me out on my Instagram and TikTok, you can find me at the LNBE Podcast. You can also write in and email me at lnbemedia@gmail.com. All right, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I will catch up with you next week.